What up, good people? It's your boy, Bro Troy, aka Mr. YM4C, but better known as Coach TJ. And you are back for a special edition of the Bro Code Show. Now, tonight's show is always sponsored by my man, Reggie Winston, over at the Barber Shop. Shout out to Reggie Winston, owner of the Barber Shop, located at 4551 New Bern Avenue, Suite 180 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Please, man, check out the barbershop for all your premier grooming services. And don't forget to ask about their monthly memberships to save you time and money. Now, tonight is a special edition. Now, obviously, we got the ball head greatness on deck. We want to get that overflow from yesterday, man. Shout out to Justin Minot as well as Rashad Bellamy, man. The show yesterday was mind-blowing. Many gems. So please go check that out. But we want to keep that momentum going. We don't want to take long with it, but we want to give you that 1-2. Tonight, we have a special guest, man. Now, we present to some, right, but introduce to other, Mr. James Montague. Now, Monty to some, right? But James, man, he is a international business developer. He is an entrepreneur. He's a community advocate. And he is a thought leader. He has done several projects around the city and internationally, and we want to talk about it. This month is all about entrepreneurship. We're talking about capital investment. And when we're talking about investments, man, we have to include this gentleman in the conversation. So again, I introduce to some and I present to others, Mr. James Montague. Monty, what's good, brother? How you feeling, man?
Hey, how you doing? Good, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, man, we taking it one day at a time, baby. Welcome to the Bro Coach Show, man. Monty, I spoke a little bit about what you do, but for the people that are listening, man, who is James Montague at the core?
James Montague, just a problem solver. My full-time job is real estate developer, but what I really do is I find problems in the community and in the world, and I try to solve them. Try to offer the solution. And be a person that has answers to some of the hardest questions that hit us on a daily basis.
That's all right.
At the core, that's who I am.
That's what's up, man. Like critical thinking and problem solving, right?
Yes.
That's really the basis of a service or a product is to find the problem and fill the gap. So absolutely. I can do that, man. Like Monty, man, you're from Southeast Raleigh, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell us about your humble beginnings growing up in Southeast Raleigh, man.
Yeah, Southeast Raleigh was a different place, man. I'm born and raised there. Grew up in Southgate, between Southgate and Chambers Heights. My family was from that area, and started cutting hair in my mom's kitchen when I was like 14 years old. Entrepreneurship has been in my blood for a while. I was cutting hair and cutting designs in the kids' heads and serving them Kool-Aid. We was playing Atari. I mean, we was going old school with it, I had them packed up in the house, and mom was like, you got to get up out of here. You can't have all these people in my house all times of the day and all times of the night. But that's kind of where it started, And like I said, I was cutting hair for 50 cents and a pack of Kool-Aid. So what happened was when you bring the 50 cents to me, that's my money, enough for me to ride my dirt bike and all that stuff and save up. And then the Kool-Aid, what I do is they have proof of purchase coupons on the back. What I do is I collect the coupons and send them in and get stuff, shirts, and all different types of stuff for people in the hood didn't have. Yeah. So I'm walking around with different stuff they didn't have: video games, T-shirts, hats. Man, where you get that from? I got this from sending in these people. So that hustle going on early.
It was in the blood, man. It sounds like, we talk about that hustling spirit, man. Some people look at that as a negative. No, when we talk about taking initiative, finding problems to solve, finding ways to look at situations differently, to make sure that it helps not just those that you're serving, but your profit pocket, right? Absolutely. So, that's what business is all about, man. I love it, bro. What you got, Bro Smith?
Yeah, man, I love your hustler mentality. I would have never thought about the Kool-Aid packet.
Yeah. You got to think outside the box, man. When you ain't got that, man, you got a whole lot of time to sit down and figure out how to get something. So, that's something that people don't really understand. You have to leverage your time because you're not promised anything on this earth. You got to figure out, what am I going to do? You can't think about what I don't have. You got to figure out, okay, this is what I have. What can I do with what I have to grow it and then learn how to systematize what you're doing, then learning how to duplicate it, and then once you master it, learn how to multiply it. We should be multipliers. No matter what someone gives you, you should be able to take that thing and multiply it. You need to learn how to multiply. No matter what it is, learn how to multiply the positive.
I like that. I like that. Well, expand for us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about your early accomplishments as an entrepreneur. Like, you went from Kool-Aid packets to what?
Yeah, ended up going to barber school. When I graduated out of high school, from barber school, ended up doing ladies' hair. I actually had a salon and actually started a salon, I think when I was 19, still have a salon to today. So that's probably one of the longest run businesses in Southeast Raleigh. 30 years, over 30 years, that's a long time to have a business. So I went from beauty salon into building my first shopping center. So I built my first shopping center when I was 27 years old. I bought the land after having a dream. I bought the land at the corner of MLK and Rock Quarry Road. Bought it for like $65,000, which was at that time a lot of money. At this time, that's nothing. They gave it to me at this time. With the way the Southeast Raleigh is growing, that asset now is worth over a couple $1 million. Well, let me see, about $2.5 million right now. That asset is worth that. So that was a serious investment. And once I got that and we're successful in that, it kind of felt good to me. Once you do something and it works out, it's like, maybe we could do that again. So that's kind of how we started, like you say, mastering the system and then learning how to duplicate it. Then once I duplicate it, learning how to multiply. So that's why I have several developments, and we're working on several more right now.
Oh no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you say you're working on several more. Are they all domestic, international? Like, where are you going with their projects these days?
Yeah, international. I mean, it kind of slowed down a little bit on the international last year because we couldn't travel anywhere last year. But in 2019, we were in about 7 different countries, 6 in Africa and one went to China in 2019, and we were set to go there again in Africa, all parts. Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana, Niger, and just different countries around. And we just didn't go anywhere last year because of this COVID, but we have kept the relationships. So we've actually done a hospital project back in 2000, I think it was 13 or 14, maybe 14, as that's the one we got the award from the United Nations for that hospital project in Osogbo, Nigeria, as a part of a Sister City initiative. It was a birthing hospital that we built in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We got a grant from them to do a hospital. So, that was kind of our first international foray into development. Now we're working with the ADDI and former ambassador to the African Union, Sister Arikana Tiambari Quo, working with that group, and we're going to build Wakanda One Village in Ghana. And we're working with a group of diaspora and Africans, Native Africans, in doing that project in Cape Coast in Ghana. So, exciting stuff going on right now. Even though, we're limited with travel, very exciting stuff going on right now.
So, James,
yes.
First of all, good to meet you. But I'm a little intrigued. All right.
Okay.
You go from having a salon to, first of all, buying real estate. Going abroad with it, though, that's another level. Right. Where does that kind of vision, where does that come from? You said earlier you started in Southeast Raleigh with humble beginnings. So how does a man with such humble beginnings have such a international process for how he does real estate?
It's weird how that happened. I'm thinking like 2006. I started traveling. I went to where did I go to? I think I went to Cameroon. Somebody said, look, if you're doing this in America, man, you can do this in Africa. So I go to Africa, not understanding there is no banking system. You can't go and get a 30-year mortgage or loan to build stuff over there. I didn't understand that until I went, and I'm looking like, how does stuff get done over here? And I saw a lot of Chinese people over there. I mean, they were everywhere, building everything. And I'm like, how are they doing it? And I, kind of started studying their system. That's how you learn. You be quiet sometimes. You can learn a lot more by listening than talking. So what I would do is I'd sit back and watched the system. Then I met my mentor. His name was John Way, and he offered to take me to China, introduced me to some government folks, Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and I mean, I've been to like now 23 different cities in China. We've got real good connections in Chinese Chamber, some government officials in China. So we've done a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, the project in Oshobo, we partnered with the Chinese government as far as one of the sponsors in that hospital project, and that relationship is still going today. They're still doing training today after all these years. So, you know, and what really caused me to really start traveling international was, strangely enough, the recession of 2007 and 8. You know, I had a shopping center that I bought in 2003 up in Greensboro. It's called the Dudley Lee Center. It was my largest asset, right there across the street from North Carolina A&T. And I think I owed about $2.8 million on it. It was worth about $4.2 million. Well, the bank called a note. I don't know if you know what that means, but when they call a note, that means you need to pay us now. And I'm like, how? You know, how do you come up with like $3 million? Would I call my cousin and get $3 million? No. So I went and talked to a former senator, Elizabeth Dole, and she was like, you need to talk to people outside of your community to see if you can get some investment to try to save it. Didn't end up saving it, but I did end up meeting some good people and understanding that we have to be diversified when it comes to our relationships. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. That started me to traveling to different places and actually really going back and forth to China and meeting with good people and actually meet some investors and big time business people over there, which are still friends to the day. So that's kind of what got me started going over to China and setting up sister cities. As of right now, we've set about 7, I think, sister city relationships between cities here in America and in China. And those relationships are set up to take advantage of education, investment, trade, what else? Medical, and just a whole lot of different fields, you know, set up to be a bridge between people here, people to people exchange here and people over on the other side of the world. And that's been a very successful thing.
Man, I mean, you hit on a lot of things, man. One of the things that always stick with us as bros, one is mindset, right? Yeah. And when we talk about a mindset, you know, Kirk asked about, you know, where does that vision come from? Where does that hustle, you know, where does that gumption, where does that fortitude and perseverance to think not around the corner, but, you know, all the way around the world? You know, we joked the other day, like, fellas, we went international, you know, but to take your business endeavors and expand them way beyond what it is that you may have written down, man, that takes a mindset and a visionary beyond. So I commend you. I admire you. I thank you for sharing. You know, we want to continue the conversation, but we want to give some efforts and some shout outs to those that help us out and our sponsors. So we're going to play a short video and we'll be right back at the Bro Coach Show.
Are you looking for a barbershop that provides luxury grooming services in a safe, clean environment, and that also gives back to the community? Well, look no further. The Barber Shop is the place for you. We're currently looking for new members. We have a location here in Raleigh, and we have a future location coming soon in Wake Forest, North Carolina. If you'd like to be a member or just give us the opportunity to serve you, please visit our website, thebarbershopnc.com. See you soon.
We're back with the Bro Coach Show. We're talking with James Montague, man. He is an international developer as well as a community leader, business owner, entrepreneur, and a granddad too, man. Is that right?
Yeah. Got a bunch of grandkids, man. Got a bunch of them jokers, man.
Gotta love them kids, man. That they supposedly keep you young. Is that right?
You know what, man? Yeah, when you leave, but when they're there, they drain you, man. They drain the energy out of you when they're around you, but then when they leave, you know, a couple days later, like, oh, that was fun.
There you go, man.
That young energy.
That's it. They keep you young, bro. So, hey, man, we've heard a lot. We went from Kool-Aid packets and 50-cent haircuts to now millions and $1 million projects, man. And you say it so effortlessly. So, you know, you encourage and excite me, and I'm quite sure the fellas share those same sentiments. But I'm curious, man, when you have those that learned experience, right? My grandmother always says, baby, just keep on living.
Right.
You know, and at 10, that didn't mean anything to me, Monty, right?
Right.
I'm not worried about Kool-Aid packets and 50-cent haircuts, right?
Right.
But as you mature and you get older, man, you as the young folks say today, that hits a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, man, when you have individuals that I'm sure call you all the time, I'm sure text you, I'm sure email you, as it pertains to wisdom, as it pertains to pouring in and wanting to follow some of those same footsteps, you know, what are some of those words of encouragement that you would give to up and coming entrepreneurs or those that are thinking to follow those same paths?
I'll just tell them to stay encouraged and to think big. I mean, you're gonna think anyway. So if you're gonna think anyway, you might as well think as big as you can. And then, you know, do things that way you can try to leave a legacy. You know, I look at, I do a lot of meditation, I do a lot of studying, I look at simple things. For instance, you know, I stare at trees a lot, and I get wisdom from trees. I get wisdom, I pick up their energy. And I mean, just something as simple as a branch or a leaf. You know, people don't think about when they break things down and say, okay, why are leaves called leaves? They call leaves because they leave the tree in order to create a legacy somewhere else. That's why they're not called stays, they're called leaves. So one day we'll all leave, but it's all about what you left here behind because you can't take it with you. So we got to think bigger than, you know, most people think when it comes to, you know, creating a legacy for future generations, you know, and that's just what we do. And, you know, the company, I wanted to kind of throw that out there too. You know, the reason why the company name is F7 because it stands for faith in action. Because it says in the word, what is that? Faith without works is dead. You know, so we can't sit around and say we have faith and say we're believers if we don't ever take and walk and take the steps to make our, you know, visions become reality.
That's what's up. The way you were talking, James, I didn't quite know what sort of trees gave you that clarity. The way you were talking, but you brought it back home. You brought it back home.
Right, right.
I'm curious, what's next for F7? You know, what's next for the business? What are you looking at? You know, how does one invest with you and partner with your organization?
Well, I mean, we're all over the place, man. We're doing stuff. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 projects going here locally, and then we got some in Wake Forest, affordable housing. We got some mixed-use developments. We've got another shopping center that we're working to build called Montague Plaza at the corner of Rock Quarry and Old Birch. We're actually having the groundbreaking for that, I think, in first week in April. Then we're doing some stuff with St. Augustine's Community Development Corporation, a mixed-use development. It's going to be a 3-story commercial on the bottom floor, residential on the top 2 floors with a component of affordable housing right there at the corner of Tarboro and Lane Street. So I mean, we got so many projects, you know, going, and then we got more on the board. Raleigh is growing at a pace that we've never seen. I've been in development since the 90s, and I've never seen it like this. And you know, I can't see it slowing down. Even with COVID, even though if another recession comes, it's still not going to slow down simply because of the talent pool, the raise in incomes. And then on top of that, you know, folks like us, you know, we need to be working together to create better futures for the young folks and to show them that, you know, it's not all negative. You know, you can think about things as being negative and you claim that negative and then it becomes negative. But if we can show them, you know, you can be a person like myself that start out in the projects, but you can still affect a positive change. We have to start putting those lessons out there and telling them that we can do this stuff. And like Brother Troy says, you know, instead of saying impossible, say I'm possible. So I really like that.
So you talked about some amazing things. I love what you're talking about relationships when it comes to your business model. What's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in business so far?
In business in general, I think the biggest lesson I learned is what's something that I do very frequently is called the stupid phone call. I will call anybody. I don't care. I'm not afraid to call anybody. I will ask any stupid question because the only question that's stupid is a question that's not asked. Because, you know, you've got a 50-50 chance. If you ask somebody for something, you got a 50-50 chance of them saying yes, It's yes or no. However, if you don't ask the question, the answer is 100% no. So the biggest lesson is to ask the question. And as I get older, I'm 50 now. I learned that the importance of time and learn how to ask the right question. Because if you ask the right question, then you'll get the right answer. If you ask just any question, you're wasting your time and the person's time that you're asking the question to. So what I do a lot of times is I study a person so that I make sure that I get the best use of their time to make them feel like it's a win-win when we leave the conversation. They don't think, well, this dude is crazy. He asked me some off-the-wall stuff. I don't ask off-the-wall stuff. I might ask something that nobody else asked, but when they go back and think about the question, I was like, oh, wow, that's deep. And then they'll want to form a relationship. So that's the biggest lesson I learned.
Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. One of my mentors says good questions get good answers.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
But you don't know what you don't know. So why wouldn't you ask?
Just ask. Ask the question.
Right. We say that all the time, man. The fellas, I'm sure the fellas could co-sign on that, man. Like, worst you could say is no.
Right.
You spell no. You spell no backwards. It's on to the next person.
So, absolutely. And another thing I've got to think about is when I was a kid, going to in high school and junior high school, I was not like I am now. I was one of those kids, man, that let's say we were going over something in school that I didn't understand. I would not raise my hand. I would sit there and I would just look around and I would see. So I'm shy. I'm sitting here like, I'm not going to ask the question. You know what I'm saying? So how many people, because they don't want to ask the question because they don't want to be looked at as stupid or whatever they call, what would call you. How many people don't ask the question, therefore do not get understanding? You see, and I guarantee that probably still goes on today. People don't want to ask the question. Now remember, this was before Google. So you couldn't just put in your phone, ask the question. It was like you had to find out by somebody or a set of encyclopedias that we had, that had 30-year-old answers in it. So, we got to get away from being afraid to ask the question.
Hey, man, I love it, man. For those that are checked in today, man, we're doing a special edition with James Montague, man, international developer, community leader, entrepreneur. We talk about making $1 out of 15 cents, man. This guy took Kool-Aid packets and 50-cent haircuts, and now is an international leader, a thought provoker, and a trendsetter as it pertains to development and bringing back business within in the community. Bro Smith, what you got, bro?
So I guess I'll leave you with this question. I was looking at your website and I saw you were awarded by the mayor of Raleigh, back in 2014.
Right.
What does one have to do to be recognized by your city like that? Everybody built houses and commercial stuff. But what did you do to get that award?
Let me think, man. That's an excellent question. I hadn't even thought about that. I had to focus on service. A lot of people, when they get to a certain level, they feel like everybody needs to serve them. As I kind of ascend in my career and in my relationships with people, I want to serve more. I want to help people. I want to do more things. And, I became a professional servant. So in order for that to happen, I had to be able to humble myself and figure out how can I help as much as I can in this world, and how can I help as many people as I can in this world. And that award, actually, I've got it hanging on my wall, James Montague Day. I'm glad you brought that up, 2014. So, that was it was a thing that made me proud. Then I had to really think about it and kind of humble myself and say, daggone, that's kind of deep. Somebody from the hood that you would have never thought would have amounted to much, to actually have his own day in this city. We ain't talking about no small town. This is Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty it's pretty amazing. But really it came from having a servant's heart and understanding what you're put here for.
Now part two to this question is, I know if I had my own day, I'd probably be doing some silliness. How do you live your life on Montague Day?
Honestly, man, we do stuff like, you know, I think about 3 years ago we started when we went to Kenya, went to Nairobi, Kenya, and we went to a place called Kibera, the Kibera slum. And Kibera is the largest slum on the continent of Africa, with over a million people living in the slum with very little running water and electricity. So how I celebrate my day is we do stuff for the kids. Actually, what we started doing was, at first we were doing it every now and then, but now we do it every week. We feed over 1,000 kids in that slum. So we send money over to our contacts there. And there's video on, I think there's video. I put video on the internet for the first time a couple of weeks ago about what we've been doing there for a few years. And the reason why I did that is because we want to do more. 1,000 kids sounds like a lot until you realize that the majority of people in that slum, which is a million people, are kids. So, I mean, really though, we ain't even putting a dent in it. 1,000 kids sound like a lot. We ain't even putting a dent in it. So what we're really trying to do is ramp up so that we can serve more people and not just feed them, but teach them how to, how to say, don't give them fish, teach them how to fish. So what we're doing is we're feeding them at the same time. We are showing them lessons on entrepreneurship. We do every now and then we do Zoom calls with the kids, and they're encouraged because, here I feel like I'm just a regular dude, but over there it's like, oh, wow, Mr. Montague is talking to us. I'm like, it's no big deal, So, I mean, getting there and getting to know people, it's just meant a lot to us. So on Montague Day, what we try to do is serve. I mean, in the past, we've had community days here where we, do different stuff. I think one year we sent like, that year the Flint, Michigan water situation went on. We sent like 5 tractor trailers up to Flint, Michigan to send water to our folks up there. And just to kind of bring light to that. That's also in the internet. So, we try to do something every year to live up to having your day. You can't just kick back and say, oh yeah, it's my day. No, that's not what it's about. That's not what happened to force that to happen. Therefore, why can I now sit back and try to rest on my laurels when I need to really get on my grind and say, we did this last year, let's do something bigger this year to serve more people.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
So James, you mentioned something that is big in the city right now. Now we know by the plaza that you mentioned on Rock Quarry, there's a lot of transition in the neighborhoods for housing. You mentioned affordable housing earlier, and as a man who has a servant heart, when we talk about serving the least of thee, can we speak a little bit to the need for affordable housing and how you kind of feel about it? Because you're at the forefront of making that kind of thing happen.
I tell you, man, it's very difficult to build affordable housing right now. It's getting to the point where I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I don't see how it's possible in Raleigh. And I'm not being negative. I'm just saying when you look at the land costs, the land prices, the cost of development, when I was coming up, man, affordable rent, in the hood was like $400. $375. You get an apartment for $375, $400. And if somebody had an apartment for $400, you'd be like, wow, they doing big. Now, man, a 1-bedroom, I think the average price of a 1-bedroom right now is somewhere between $1,400 and $1,600 for a 1-bedroom. So it's just getting more and more difficult as people move in. I think they said something like, 60 or 70 people move here per day. From different places, and those people are moving from places where, a $300,000 house is not high. From where we're coming from, I mean, if you had $100,000 house, you was doing something. So, I mean, it's just getting more and more difficult to do affordable housing. So we have to be creative in what we're doing and learn how to, dig into different pots of money to make these projects affordable. And that's kind of what I've fell into the niche of doing now, but I didn't do it because I wanted to. I did it because it was necessary.
Yeah. I think the price per square foot in Raleigh is about 166. So you can get yourself 3 square feet for what you can get for a whole apartment back in that day.
Absolutely. That's right. Absolutely right, though. No, that's real. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, man. Before we wrap this conversation up, man, we try to, or want to give you the opportunity to, one, how can people get in contact with you? How can they support you? And there's anything that you want to leave the people before we go?
Sure. How you can get in contact with me? My phone number is public. Has been for years. People say, "Man, you still answer from my?" Yeah, I mean, it's my phone number. What am I gonna do? I mean, it ain't that deep. So yeah, no, I can be reached at 919-796-2546, or my email. I prefer to be emailed is Montes MONTES F7 @iCloud.com. And I can be reached in those ways while I'm in country.
Mind you, what he said at the end, right?
When I'm in country.
He's in the country.
You
caught that, right? You did get that, right?
Some people, they'll call you and you out of the country, and they're like, "Man, this dude don't return my call." Like, bro, I was not even there. I was gone for like a couple of weeks, so but I haven't traveled in a while.
They don't have them type of problems.
Right.
They don't know. Like, where? No, I didn't go to. I didn't go to Dunn. I went to Tanzania. Right. So nonetheless, man, we love and appreciate you, brother, man. We appreciate you always supporting what we do of continuing to develop our youth through YM4C, man. We truly believe the best is yet to come. We look forward to continuing to connect, to pour into our next generation, man. So, it's your boy, Bro Troy, aka Mr. YM4C, better known as Coach TJ. We always want to leave you guys with some food for thought, man. I certainly appreciate those that took the time to listen to this special edition. We appreciate our guests and want to prepare you for this Wednesday coming up. This was a special edition. We normally don't broadcast on Sunday, but this is a good brother friend, and we want to make sure that we got a chance to hear his story and that others can share as well. And plus, we totally believe here on the Bro Code, reflective representation matters. So we appreciate you, man. We thank you for taking the time to tell your story. Check us out on Wednesday, man. We're going to be right back here on Wednesday with my man, the Renaissance man himself, Mr. Lex Jordan, a big boo of a Big Boo Law. Lex is a hometown hero as well, man. Went to Cary Academy, then went on to UNC Chapel Hill, got his law degree. Eclectic guy. This guy plays about 3-4 different instruments and is also a track star. So we look forward to hearing his story. That'll be this Wednesday coming up at 4:30. So keep in mind that'll be 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. Eastern Standard Time will be live with Lex Jordan. So again, we appreciate our viewers for listening. We certainly appreciate Monty for coming on, as well as our fellas and bros for a dope night. We always want to leave you with something positive, and we just want to keep the flow going. Tonight's going to come straight from another entrepreneur who goes international. He goes by Mr. Sean Carter, a.k.a. Jay-Z, which y'all know him by. And he said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business, man." It's your boy, Bro Troy, a.k.a. Mr. YM4C, better known as Coach TJ, and we are the Bro Code.